As volunteers, we all have to deal with the hazards, distractions and dangers that are found on our roads, just like everyone else. Driving is difficult because so much is involved. We're navigating, choosing and maintaining a correct position on the road, obeying rules, signs and signals, using in-vehicle equipment, keeping an appropriate speed, trying to maintain our own well-being and ensuring we don't compromise safety through fatigue, impairment or distraction.
A good driver will do well in all the tasks we've just listed, but will be specifically good at two things. First, observation, the science of knowing what's going on around us at all times. Second, anticipation, the art of predicting what might happen next, so that nothing need come as a surprise.
Good drivers are people who know what their vehicles can do, know what they can do and respect others on the road.
Good drivers leave nothing to chance. They ensure they don't react if the journey starts going wrong.
The main things I think you need to do is take pride in your driving, so if anybody's watching you, they're thinking, what a really good driver.
Well, good drivers know their own capabilities and their limits, and they respect other people on the roads.
The difficulties of the driving task can be increased by poor weather, poor visibility and heavy traffic. Excessive or inappropriate speeds can also make the driving task drastically harder. And we don't just mean speeding. After all, driving within the limit doesn't automatically make you safe.
The good news is that driver capability generally improves with age and experience, though it can be adversely affected by factors such as fatigue, impairment, distraction, stress and anger. As long as your capabilities exceed the demands of the journey, then you're in control of the driving task. In fact, the bigger the gap between the two, the bigger the safety margin. However, if task demand exceeds capability, then you've lost your safety margin and you're at higher risk of having an accident.
Our perceptions of our own capability often exceed reality. In other words, we're not quite as good as we think we are. At the same time, our perception of task demand falls short of reality. In other words, we tend to underestimate the demands or difficulties of the journey.
In a moment, we'll run through the benefits of using the acronym COAST to guide our driving. But first, let's just go through the basics.
A good driver always wears a seatbelt. A good driver doesn't drink and drive. A good driver doesn't use a mobile phone while driving.
Avoiding unnecessary distractions means you're doing your bit to keep the road safer for yourself and for those around you.
Good drivers use the accelerator, brakes and gears thoughtfully and systematically. Defensive driving is governed by the same principles as what's become known as green driving. The easy-on, easy-off style of the defensive driver also brings the best fuel performance. You save your nerves by doing everything calmly. You also reduce the cost of repair and maintenance.
We know that COAST includes the key elements of concentration, observation and anticipation to give us space and time.
Concentration requires you to be fresh and alert for the journey. Before you go anywhere, you've completed your daily checks, the vehicle is properly loaded, you're sitting comfortably and you have a good view all round.
So for the duration of the journey, particularly for those slow speed sections at the beginning and end, you'll be able to focus fully on staying safe and making sensible decisions.
Good observation tells you what's going on around you. It's closely linked to concentration.
Together, the two skills allow you to pick up a great deal more information. You're scanning further ahead on the road, you're picking up hazards earlier, and you're working out how to deal with them.
Anticipation is all about what could happen next.
You've been concentrating on the big picture, not just those few meters directly in front of the car. So you're already taking in more information and you're using it to adjust your position on the road and your speed. Experience helps you to identify hazards early and to prioritize which ones need your attention. Therefore, nothing need come as a surprise. How much space do I need to react to a hazard that may be developing ahead? And how much time do I need in order to stop safely? Let's keep in mind that most collisions occur because we run out either of time, space, or skill, or a combination of all three.
COAST, which is concentration, observation, anticipation, which gives you space and time. Concentration is really important in the driving task. Your brain has been asked to carry out so many functions, so you need to apply your brain to that task all the time. Don't be distracted by other things. Observation, obviously the further up the road you can see a problem, the more time you're going to give yourself to actually plan your way you're going to deal with that. Anticipation, if you anticipate what other drivers are going to do, it gives you a good chance of avoiding an accident. So if there's a bus at the bus stop waiting to emerge, you're thinking that it may emerge before you get there. So rather than react to it at the last moment, you're already planning what you're going to do. Because if you do all those correctly, you can give you space and time to deal with any of the hazards that you're going to encounter.
Make it your goal to keep a safe distance from the vehicle in front and to stay focused at all times on the road environment.